The Doomsday Clock is a symbolic representation of how close humanity is to global catastrophe, primarily due to nuclear threats, climate change, and emerging disruptive technologies. Managed by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, the clock serves as a warning, urging global leaders to take action in preventing existential threats. First introduced in 1947, the Doomsday Clock originally stood at 7 minutes to midnight. Over the decades, the minute hand has moved back and forth based on world events. For instance, during the Cold War, nuclear tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union caused the clock to inch closer to midnight. Conversely, arms control agreements and diplomatic efforts have occasionally pushed the time backward. As time progressed, the clock became an important indicator of global security. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, for instance, was a defining moment when the world teetered on the brink of nuclear war. The arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union kept the clock dangerously close to midnight. However, moments of détente, such as the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaties, START, and the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, INF, provided a sense of relief, pushing the clock's hands slightly backward. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the world witnessed a rare moment of optimism, and the Doomsday Clock was pushed back to 17 minutes to midnight, the farthest from catastrophe it has ever been. However, this optimism was short-lived. The rise of new global threats, such as terrorism, cyber warfare, and rapid climate change, began to influence the clock's position once again. The September 11th attacks in 2001, the acceleration of global warming, and the proliferation of nuclear weapons in unstable regions reignited fears of global disaster. In recent years, the Doomsday Clock has been moving closer to midnight at an alarming rate. The increasing number of geopolitical conflicts, the breakdown of nuclear treaties, and the lack of significant action against climate change have exacerbated global risks. For example, tensions between nuclear-armed states such as the United States, Russia, China, North Korea, and India have fueled concerns over a new arms race. Additionally, the acceleration of artificial intelligence and biotechnology without ethical safeguards presents unprecedented dangers. Today, the Doomsday Clock has ticked 1 second closer to midnight, reflecting the escalating threats that humanity faces. This movement signifies a deepening crisis that requires immediate action. The factors influencing this decision include geopolitical instability, unchecked technological advancements, and the accelerating pace of environmental degradation. Scientists and policymakers warn that failure to address these issues could lead to irreversible consequences. Understanding the significance of the Doomsday Clock requires examining the global landscape of security, diplomacy, and sustainability. The clock's adjustments are based on thorough analysis by experts in nuclear science, climate change, and international affairs. By keeping track of these changes, the world gains a valuable indicator of the state of global stability and the pressing need for action. One of the most pressing concerns affecting the Doomsday Clock is climate change. Rising global temperatures, deforestation, loss of biodiversity, and extreme weather patterns are pushing the planet to its limits. Scientists warn that without immediate reductions in carbon emissions, Earth could reach a tipping point beyond which catastrophic environmental events become inevitable. The failure of major world powers to commit to sustainable energy solutions and reduce their carbon footprints further compounds the crisis. Additionally, the rise of disinformation and cyber threats poses another challenge. The digital age has made information more accessible but also more vulnerable to manipulation. False narratives, propaganda, and cyber attacks on critical infrastructure have the potential to destabilize nations, weaken democratic institutions, and provoke conflicts. In a world where technology plays an increasingly dominant role, ensuring cybersecurity and preventing the misuse of artificial intelligence have become essential for global stability. Efforts to turn back the clock include disarmament treaties, global cooperation on climate policies, and ethical considerations in technology development. However, without decisive actions from governments and institutions, the hands of the clock will continue moving forward, symbolizing an increased risk of catastrophe. International organizations such as the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and climate advocacy groups continue to push for policies aimed at reducing these risks. but their success depends on the commitment of world leaders. Despite the bleak outlook, there is still hope. Movements advocating for environmental sustainability, arms reduction, and ethical technological advancements are gaining momentum. Public awareness about climate change has led to increased pressure on corporations and governments to take meaningful action. Grassroots activism, scientific research, and diplomatic efforts offer pathways to slowing down the march toward global disaster. In conclusion, the Doomsday Clock is more than just a metaphor. It is a stark reminder of the responsibilities humanity holds. The fact that it has moved 1 second closer to midnight highlights the critical nature of the challenges ahead. As global citizens, it is imperative to demand responsible policies and sustainable practices to secure a future for generations to come. Addressing these challenges requires unity, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to preserving peace and stability. The choices made today will determine whether the Doomsday Clock moves forward or backward, shaping the fate of humanity in the process.